Well, I got an AR9 and I've been having issues with it, feeding issues. The magazine's empty and everything. Um, I'm just going to show you guys some things and I'm going to get in here. I already kind of got my area marked out in there. And when it feeds forward, it just goes straight in. It pushes the round straight onto the barrel, and it has no feed ramp to kind of feed it in there. So I'm going to grind a feed ramp in with a dremel and then polish it, and we'll see how it feeds after that. All right, so I kind of wanted to get in here, and I marked out where I know I'm going to need to grind away. So when I pull this all apart, I know where to grind at and kind of stop at. And you could see it looks like it's going to go straight into the barrel, but when the bolt rides forward, it pushes the round downward to go straight, and then it goes straight into the edge of the barrel. So what it needs is it needs a feed ramp like a pistol does, and it'll feed it straight into the barrel. You could kind of see that I marked out marked it out with Sharpie. Let me get in here. I marked it out with Sharpie and kind of marked my place so I know where to start. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart and so make it easy to get to where that spot is with the Dremel. And I'm going to grind it out and polish it, and we'll see how it feeds. Alright, so I got this taken off all the way apart, and I just got the barrel here. And I got my Sharpie line. That's how I kind of want it to droop down. And what I did is I saw where the round was hitting it, and it hits it right at the flat edge before it goes to the bevel. So I'm gonna give it some good drop down below like this, so it'll have enough room it'll catch and it'll push the round into the chamber. This is in theory, this is my experience, my metalworking experience and stuff like that. So, and my experience with guns and looking how this gun was feeding. I'm going to go ahead and put this on a tripod, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. So I'm not going to come in really at a steep angle. I'm going to come in at a really shallow angle, because all I'm trying to do is get rid of this bevel and this flat edge, and I'm trying to give it a little bit of a feed ramp. And I don't want to take too much away and go too deep into it, because you're going to still want the round to sit into the barrel correctly, and you don't want to take away too much material. So I should probably clamp this down. Fuck it. I'll probably just use my fingers. So I'm going to come in really shallow, and if I have to go at a steeper angle, I'll come back to it, and I'm going to have to probably put it together, feed it, see how it works. And if it still gives me issues, then I'm going to have to keep taking it back apart and fixing it. And hopefully when I take it to the range tomorrow, it'll feed correctly and we won't have any more issues. This is my main issue right now, is it won't feed the round in. So as you can see, this is kind of how it looks right now. Okay, I didn't go too steep into it. That way I don't fuck this barrel up really too bad. But what I want to do is I'm going to take one of these polishing wheels, and you got the grind lines into it, and what this is going to do is make those lines a little finer. And I could also change the direction of the lines so they're feeding into the barrel. Because if you have those lines going perpendicular to where you're feeding into, and those lines could cause friction and cause problems more than likely, from my experience in metalworking and stuff like that. So you take this polishing compound, and as the wheel's going, you're going to put some of this on the wheel. Well, I guess you could do it just before. But you'll get this on there, and this is kind of it's got like little fragments of sand in it. It's very fine sand, and it'll basically sand and polish this thing, so it's nice and smooth. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. Put this bad boy on there. Don't put too much pressure down when you're doing this, because I ripped the hole, like I guess it spun too hard onto it and it's tore the center out, so I didn't want to spin anymore. So I figured out maybe I shouldn't put that much pressure onto it. I think I used too much grit, so I'm going to try to use this grit real quick to kind of smooth out those lines a little more. It's kind of common with grinding and shit. Usually if you're polishing, you're really just making the deep scratches less visible to the naked eye. That's why metal looks so smooth. There's still scratches. The scratches are just super small. And this thing, this grit, I'm assuming it's like 60 grit, and this is probably 120. 120 is a little finer, so it won't dig the scratches so deep. This should get all the deep scratches out. You probably want to run really carefully and fast over the scratches. It's just enough to get the scratches gone. And then go back through with that, because this thing is not making it like a mirror when it should be. This is now you've exposed the bare metal. So you've exposed the bare metal, and it'll probably rust a lot easier, because what they do is they black oxide it. They black oxide it, and that gives it some kind of like rust resistance when it's out in the weather, when you're out in the battlefield or whatever. And it being exposed like this will just make it easier to rust. It'll probably rust overnight if you're slept outside and kept your rifle out in the weather. It'll for sure. Let me see here. Trying to give you a good. It doesn't want to focus. That's good enough for now. You see all the shit in there. Make sure you clean your barrel, obviously, before you go and shoot. Especially this wax. This wax will fucking cake up in there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this together, and then we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this this rides. I think we'll be okay. I'm going to clean the barrel out first. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and send the bolt home. Looks good. 1, 2, 3. That looks smooth. That looked way better than what it would at the range. So I think that looks pretty smooth now. That should fix the action. I'm going to try to find the fucking 3 rounds that flew on the ground, but I'm going to go take it to the range tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. That should fix the feeding issue. If anyone else is having the feeding issue and you don't have no experience with metalworking, I don't think you should do it. You should more than likely have a friend do it if they know about guns and more than you do, and metalworking more than likely. I'm pretty damn positive. I have no blowback issues because I couldn't even get the next round to feed. So that was my main issue. It would eject, and then it would push the next round into the face of the barrel there. But that should fix it. That was pretty damn smooth, and I'm pretty happy with that. All it needed was a slight guide upward, because sometimes it was pushing it straight, but now it has a little bit of an angle down there, that further down than where it was, and I think that'll fix the issue. They got this gap. It's like about a 1/2 inch gap between the magazine and the barrel, and that round doesn't know where to go, and it wants to point down. And if it points down and straight, and now it's got something to kind of guide it back up. So I'm pretty confident in that. So if you guys have problems, I would and you have no other ways of figuring out how to fix it, I think that would do it. If you're having the same issues, I'm gonna take it to the range tomorrow. I'll videotape and we'll see how it fires.